Hi everybody and welcome back to the channel. So in this week's video, I'm going to talk about the benefits of just taking your time in photography, and that's how you're going to get the best shots that you can, given the conditions that you have, given the location that you have come to. Right, so this is the main purpose of today's trip. The scene that you can see behind me here, going to be pretty noisy because the water levels are really high, and it's really gushing across this river. But you can see that I've actually got my tripod just in this little island here, so I'm just luckily can jump across. It's pooling a little bit with the water, but I can still manage to get across there. But I think that gives me the best angle. I'm just playing around with some different shots with this house in the background here, and this shot is going to work really well, I think, in spring, maybe early summer as well, when the leaves are out on the trees. Should be quite nice. So yeah, got plenty of time this morning, so I just want to play around with some different compositions here, try and get some of these rocks here in the foreground as well, and just look for different angles. So I could spend all of my time just walking around the entire area, trying to take as many photos as possible, but it does make much more sense. Doesn't matter what the weather's doing, I think. Sometimes it makes much more sense just to stay in one location, just work maybe 3 areas, and I already have those 3 areas in mind, one of which is this area here that you've already seen, and then obviously the other parts of the video, I'll show the other 2 areas as well. So looking for quality, working on different compositions, rather than just running around taking as many shots as possible. Now, of course, if I happen to come across something while I'm walking from those locations, then of course I'm going to take those shots if I think it's going to work well to capture and document the area. So the majority of the photos today are actually going to be handheld. But I did bring my travel tripod along. I generally do because for video, sometimes it's easier. Well, it is easier for video when I've got the tripod with me. So that's the only reason I bought it. But I'm just taking advantage of it because I could take this shot handheld. I'm having to compromise here again with the settings because I want to try and capture some of the movement in the river. It's not going to be that easy because it is pretty dark and overcast. So on the camera settings, I'm actually going down to f4 on this, ISO 500, and that's giving me a shutter speed of about 1/125, which is not amazingly good, but it's good enough. Now, if I go up to f8, I'd have to massively increase the ISO, which will introduce some noise into the shot, and that's what I'm looking to avoid doing. The travel tripod is because actually I'm shooting pretty low down, and because I'm tall, I just find it's easier to use the tripod just for this type of shot. Otherwise, I would just do it handheld. So I'm just working on some different angles with this shot. Now, going handheld, ISO 320, f5.6, and that's giving me a shutter speed of 1/200. Again, just experimenting with different shutter speeds. The advantage I have when I'm taking from this angle is that I am including the sky as well, which obviously means that I'm getting a faster shutter speed here without having to drop all the way down to f4. But I'm just going to experiment with different shutter speeds, dropping the ISO, increasing the f-stop, and just to see what I get with this different type of shot here. But I quite like this angle, actually. I think I prefer it to some of the ones where I've been taking it low down. But yeah, I'm also thinking perhaps this might be a black and white image rather than a color image. But yeah, as I said, about just taking your time, sometimes working one location rather than just running around taking different shots. I've got 2 other places after this that I actually want to go and visit. And then that may be pretty much it. So I have plenty of time today. I am free all day, and there are actually only 3 areas of this location that I want to photograph. They're all within short walking distance of each other, and that's what I want to do. One of them I actually haven't been to and seen what it's like. I've just looked at a couple of images on Google Maps, and this is the one that I don't know what I'm going to find, but I think I'm going to find something at least for 1 or 2 good photos, hopefully. Yeah, one of the advantages, actually, I've just noticed that one of the areas that I want to photograph is just here that you can see. But actually from this road, maybe there's some possibilities there as well. I don't know, I've only got my 24-120 on, which is my standard zoom lens there, so I'm not sure what I'm going to get. I've also noticed, by the way, that there are people that are walking along, kind of using this kind of cart to walk their dogs. Maybe there's some possibilities there as well, something to investigate, I think, on the way back. And that actually links quite well to my point about taking your time. Just staying in a location for a while means you get a better feel for that location. And if you do come to somewhere that you know is going to have people around or some activity, then just staying in that location and waiting for something to happen also means that you can come away with a photo that you probably weren't expecting when you drove to that particular location, or travelled, I should say. I'm sure not all of you are driving to your locations for photography. So I've arrived at my destination, and there's a nice little village just here. So again, usual thing in Germany here, I'm just conscious of the fact that I don't want to include number plates in. So I'm just kind of making this video at the entrance here, but I have found already another little area to do a little kind of POV video without number plates. So yeah, it's quite nice though. I really like the village. As I said, I think definitely coming back here in spring. And you can see there's a little bit of, I don't know, wildlife, I guess. So there's some goats and some other animals here as well. You can see the little kind of goat pen here, which I managed to get a few photos of as well, which is quite nice. So it's one of those examples of you never quite know what you're going to get until you actually turn up and give it a go. And as I said, I'm sure these guys are going to be around in the spring as well when I get some kind of brighter conditions. But yeah, it's a nice kind of reference area to come back to. So I was just walking back from this little village, and I have 2 things here. Firstly, I saw that these tractor lines that hopefully you can see here directly point at the farmhouse in the background, in the distance. So that was great. And also, whilst I was here, we actually have some blue sky, which is great. So even the sun came out for I don't know, a fraction of a second, I guess. But I was able to take a couple of the shots with the sun out. Now, there was a guy walking his dog as well, and I took a shot with the guy also at the end of the tractor lines. I'm not sure, to be honest, because I think in that scenario, there's perhaps too much going on. I think it's one of those photos that I'm going to have to look at when I get it back on the computer and see whether the guy walking his dog adds to the shot or just distracts from the point of the shot. So I'm actually on to my final location. Now you can see that I have been to 3 places, all within this little triangle. So behind me here is the village. This is the farmhouse here that I'm about to go to. And in this direction, you can see probably, well, maybe like that. You can see the river and the house in the background as well. So just that triangulated location I've actually spent 3 hours here, but just within that short radius or triangle. So this is the farmhouse that you can see here. I really like the fact that you've got the orange roof here, so it is adding some color into this shot, even in this kind of low contrast conditions. The blue sky and sun did literally last for about a minute and a half. It's now fully gone. I can also see there's some parts of the building here that have a little bit of color as well. So I'm just going to take my time, work different compositions for here, try and maximize the color where possible. I think there's a little archway as well, so maybe there's some possibilities there too. But again, just about taking my time. I've still got some time before I need to head home and just try and find as much as I can. What a great way to spend about 3.5 hours, I think, in total, just for those 3 locations. As always, thank you for watching and see you next time.